my way of recording what I observed was to start to make drawings and pictures of everything that I encountered. And I discovered that as I would do those pictures, it brought me into a quiet, still, meditative place. And I felt more connected with the things that I was exploring, more in love with the world around me. And I wanted to share that with other people. So as my development progressed, you want to run? Okay, ready? Go get him. Go get him. Go get him. All right. So as my work progressed, I found that I really enjoyed environmental education and finding ways of connecting people with nature. What I really wanted to do was to help people get that sense that I had of falling in love with nature. And so in order to do that, I guess I started the way that most people do. You've got like these sort of outdoor education games that we're taught too loud. But this way people at the back can hear. Okay? I started off with a lot of the classic environmental education games, and we would have fun, but it didn't really translate into people falling in love with the world. But what I began to discover is that for me, the way that I connected with the wild was through drawing, sketching, and observing deeply. That process is what brought me deeper in. And I began to explore that technique with the students and the adults that I was working with. If I want to get people to fall in love with nature, in order to do that, one of the first things I need to do is to come up with kind of a working definition of what love is. And it's often sort of described as sort of this intangible feeling. But I've come up with a very practical, for us involved in sort of outdoor things, a very practical definition of love. So try this on for a moment. Consider love as sustained, compassionate attention. Sustained, compassionate attention. You think about that between yourself and a child, between yourself and your companion, your partner, between yourself and wildness. The more that you can sustain and keep being present with focused attention, that is the act of love. And it changes who you are. By paying that kind of attention, you are fundamentally changed by that activity. The person who you're interacting with feels that. And I think that nature around us feels the same thing. While I was working on my field guide to the Sierra Nevada mountains, every time I couldn't just go out and I did all those drawings of the plants. Those are done from life in the field. And I couldn't walk out there into the meadow, pick a plant, bring it into the shade, and draw a picture of it. Because by the time I got done drawing a picture of it, that focus had brought me into a state of love with that plant. And then I would leave, and there's this wilted, dead thing on the ground. And so I would draw them each from life, sitting there on the ground in front of me. And then when I would get up, by the time I was done with this process, it seemed like the most natural thing to get up, bunch up sort of stand the grasses up in the spot where I was sitting, and turn around and thank the plant that I was drawing. I felt as if there was a relationship between me and that plant. It was no longer it, but it had become a thou.